Friends, the Teeth Matter website has been updated. Go to teethmatterpod.com to learn a little bit more about me, but also get access to all the things I use to make my life a little bit easier. Whether it has to do with nutrition or sleep, you can find it there at the Teeth Matter store. Go check it out. Okay, one last thing before we dive into the episode. I found out that 77% of those who listen or watch the episode don't actually follow the podcast, which means I need you to go to your Apple Podcast or your Spotify or wherever you get your podcast from and press that subscribe button. Make sure to follow so you can stay up to date with the latest releases. Thank you. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Teeth Matter podcast. I'm your host, Ellie Halabian, DDS, and it's Tuesday morning, October 14th. I just got out of a killer workout. It's barely sunrise. I mean, there's a little bit of light shining through my window. And I have to say there's something about exercising in the morning that makes me feel prepared for the day. Like getting up in that cold, dark weather. I mean, it's dark because we're going into winter now, unfortunately. But getting in through that weather and getting out of that workout makes me feel like anything I do that day or today will be possible. And anyways, that's enough about me. I'm just on a little bit of a high right now, and that dopamine endorphin high. But this isn't about me. It's about you. One of the topics on this podcast that we talk about often is student debt and financial growth. I think, how can someone like me, who's $500,000 in debt, trying to make payments, barely making a dent in those payments, is going to build wealth? And so I reach out to all these dentists to see how they've gained their success and where they are financially. And one of those people is Dr. Anthony Nguyen. Now, he also started like me, student debt, $500,000. He graduated from the University of Detroit Mercy. He completed his residency at UCLA. He ended up getting married. And so he had all of these financial responsibilities, credit card debts, and so on. And then from this massive financial burden, he took his own risk, opened up his own practice in California, and he turned that debt into opportunity. He was breaking even within his first year and then excelling in his second year. So in this episode, we break down some of the key decisions that actually helped him scale his business, but also talk about the financial lessons that he picked up along the way. And he tells us what young dentists can do to take control of their careers. Let's get into it. Dr. Anthony Nguyen, welcome to Teeth Matter.
Oh, hi. Thank you for having me.
You and I connected through a mutual friend, Stephen O, who's a great friend, great listener, and he was even a guest on the podcast. And I've talked to him and opened up to him about the stress of student debt and making it in dentistry. And then he shared your story and he connected you and I. And so you went from student debt to now practice owner with a thriving practice. And I want to get into that story. But in order to get into that story, we need to know how it all started. So we're going to go back to the beginning.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. When you started as a dental student, what was your goal or dream as a professional?
Oh, man, that's really deep. I guess we'll start even before that, because I had a really cool dentist growing up. His name's also Dr. Nguyen. Jaubin. It's still weird to call him by his first name. I still call him Dr. Nguyen. But he was a young dentist, probably like 9 years, 10 years out, just like how I am right now. And yeah, he was just really, really nice. We talked about cars. Mm-hmm. He let me into his office. I was like his sterile tech for a little bit. I helped him out. And that kind of really sparked my interest about, this is what I want to be. This is who I want to be, because he's a cool guy. He's had a cool practice. And he was just down to earth. And I felt like I saw myself in him. Mm-hmm. And to this day, he talks about that. He sees himself in me. So that's why he's really cool. In fact, his daughter, same thing. She helped me out as a dental assistant too. And she just got into dental school. So it's kind of like full circle.
Right.
But that's where it started. As a dental student, though, I wanted to first be an oral surgeon. And then by fourth year, I was burnt out. And I was like,
understandably.
I don't know if I want to do this. And my girlfriend at the time, my wife now, she was 10 years into her career. And that was part of the decision. Like, I didn't want to have to uproot her from her job. And it was more of like a two-person like lifestyle. Hey, this is where we're going to be. It wasn't my decision at that point anymore. I had to take other considerations. But I don't want to blame her, because it's not anything to blame. But at the same time, like that factored into what I wanted to do.
Sure.
And so I wasn't super passionate about it, but I did like to get my hands dirty, so to speak. And so I did a GPR after because I was still contemplating what I wanted to do. And then during that time, I was like, okay, well, I think I'm ready to just practice, own my own practice. And I think the next step is to do a lot of surgical training. And that's what I did after that.
You mentioned taking into consideration your then girlfriend, now wife, thinking about, how you're going to take on responsibility for your life together. So curious to know, what was the financial reality you were facing when you were coming out of school?
Almost $1 million in debt. Well, actually $500,000 in debt. And that was a big part. She didn't have any debt, which is great.
Yeah.
But I had that. I had my undergrad debt. It was about $14,000. And then after dental school, I racked up, I think like $30,000 in credit card debt. It was wild.
Just going up and up and up and up.
We partied like a rock star in dental school. I don't regret it one bit. I was able to pay that back in 3 months.
There you go.
If there's any
That's
students,
impressive.
yeah,
Good on you.
Yeah, we made bank the first couple of months.
Yeah.
But yeah, for any student dentists listening out there, spend your time hanging out with your friends in dental school because that was a very precious time and you'll never get that back.
Absolutely. No, I couldn't agree with you more. So was there a point like during that time that you were like, oh, I'm never going to get out of this debt? Did you have that thought or that fear?
I didn't. It's so bad because if you ask my wife right now, she was like, oh, how much do eggs cost? How much does, this coffee cost? I have no idea. I just charge everything. I just don't know.
Yeah.
So I think
I'm honestly the same. I'm very much like you. Like I know I need it, so I'll just buy it, but I won't look at the price tag.
Yeah, I never do. And all my friends know this too. Like I just never know. I'm just like, it's fine. It's fine. It's what I want and we'll make it back. It's not a big deal. But back in, I remember the first year practicing, I remember it's like, how many wisdom teeth do I have to do so I can go on this trip? But not that I was like financially stressed or anything. Right. There's another time when I was financially stressed, but at that time I was like, no, it's fine. We charge it. I was making it back. I was making like over 215, 20K something in my first year, 2 years, like out of school. So I was fine. And cost of living was super cheap because I lived in Chico, which was an hour north of Sacramento. So moved a little bit further away for that.
I see. So once you graduated residency and you were practicing, were you practicing as an associate?
Yes, as an associate at a DDS.
Okay. And how many years were you doing that for?
3 years. So my plan initially was 2 years and then move back. But my wife had a good job up there too. And so we're like, let's just stay for another year and maybe I'll buy myself a nice car. And so that's what ended up happening.
So I'm curious, you're making good money, right? You're making upwards of 200. Your cost of living is low. You're having a pretty decent lifestyle up there. And then what made you take the risk of starting your own practice when you were pretty comfortable as an associate?
I think it comes down to what you really want in life. And my dad gave me this exercise a long time ago. I always tell my dental students this, that if you close your eyes and you kind of figure out where you want to be 10 years from now, and then you reverse engineer. And in my mind, I always knew I wanted to move back to California. I had a great support system. I still do in this area in the South Bay, and they still continue to come to me. And I always wanted to be part of that community again, because I moved around a lot. I lived in undergrad. I lived in New York and then Detroit for dental school. And then when I moved, before that, I lived in DC, like Northern Virginia area. And so I always had an inkling I wanted to come back home, and this was always home for me.
I see. You've jumped around quite a bit, actually, which is actually a positive experience because you get to see what life is like in different cities and kind of see what's more up your alley.
You find your people.
You find your people, yeah.
Even in LA, like the South Bay area where I'm at, like they're my people. I can connect with them. Like I go to the bar, I see my homies like all the time.
I love that for you. I'm happy you found your people. Tell me, when you decided to open up the practice, right? What was the hardest or actually, how many years after practicing did you open up your practice?
Year-wise, it was my 5th year. But by my 4th year, I was looking to purchase one. And by the 5th year is when I actually had everything done, because Stephen will tell you, by the time you make the decision, it's like at least a year for everything, because you'll have to find a place, at least negotiate all that stuff, build out or permits, build out, and you're at least a year out by the time you make your decision.
So I'm assuming you did a startup?
I did a startup. Yeah.
Okay.
I tried to find a practice spy, but I couldn't find one.
Okay. Well, I mean, I don't think there's a wrong way of doing it. But what was the hardest lesson you learned in the first year of running your practice?
The hardest lesson. There's a lot of lessons I learned every day. The hardest lesson. Well, I had a close friend and assistant kind of like steal from me. So that was kind of gut wrenching because, that's how you make your money from your family.
Right.
So it feels very like, what's the word I'm looking for? That broken trust is just like, it just feels like gives you the ick,
Right. Well, it's invasive and it's personal.
Yeah.
So, well, let's just stay on that topic then. When you have somebody who's working for you who takes money or extorts you, what did you change about the way you practice or the way you board on employees or whatnot?
You have fail safes, you trust but verify. You have audits, your internal audits, just to make sure that, nothing, like everything looks up to date and in order. So those are hard lessons to learn. And I still learn them every day. Like, oh, we should have done this, or why wasn't that caught? And I'd still do my audits, even though my office manager does it, I still do it as well.
Okay. So you're still pretty involved in that.
You have to be. I mean, it's your money.
Absolutely. So let's go back to what was now the biggest financial mistake you made early on.
Ooh, financial mistake. To be honest, I think we've been pretty good. And there was definitely some financial. Oh, you know what? To go back to that, I think there's like the hardest mistake or the hardest thing I learned, because this came to me and it was a really good lesson, is to have a brand Bible. So Dr. Adam, I'll show you, but he's in my I'm in his mastermind group, and he came up with this thing called a brand Bible. But I don't know if I should say too much about it, but it gives you an idea of what that looks like. Is that you want to have a office policy and office manual that you can go back to, because otherwise, if you're saying things to the team all the time, you become the bad guy. And so you want to, hey, this is our operations manual. Artsci does it this way versus Dr. Nguyen wants to do it like that. And then you don't become the bad guy anymore. And you have the office manager or whoever implements that so that you're not the bad guy. And so that was like the hard lesson in the very beginning.
Do you share this Bible with employees when they're onboarding, or is it like continuously, reinforced?
It's continuously reinforced. So when they're onboarded, they go through it. Every Thursday, we have an office meeting. I provide lunch for them, and we talk about like just what the office policy is, housekeeping stuff, making sure that everybody is within the office culture and understands what we're trying to create for our patients and their experience that we want to have for them. You
said every Thursday. Is that not too repetitive? How much changes in a week?
You would think so, but it's not. Like, there's always something to talk about. And we've created a formula where even though the formula is repetitive, the things we talk about typically are not. We always start with a medical history. So it updates our team members so that they know, hey, we're not just doing teeth, we're treating people. And how can we treat people better by understanding their medical history? So we start with that. We talk about housekeeping stuff, like basic stuff like, hey, make sure to do your dishes. And then we go into like the details of like, hey, let's treatment plan this, or what's the difference between gingivitis and periodontitis, and just like little tiny things that you think are basic, but if the team is all on board and they understand it in great detail, just like you, then you're able to treat patients more effectively. Because a lot of times, especially in my practice, I barely have time with them, like 10, 15 minutes. And a lot of times the communication goes with your team. And if your team is educated, then they don't have to go run back and ask you a question. They'll be able to answer the questions for the patient. And I think that's really cool. And I think it elevates the practice, because then they're not just a suctioner, right? They become the assistant. They become a provider in your office as well.
Yeah, you empower them and they take ownership over the care that they're delivering.
Yeah, and it's awesome to see. And
absolutely.
And the patients love it too, because then the patients request them or have trust in our team. Even though my team is very young, like they're very, very competent.
Right. And it shows the patient that the team members are all competent regardless of their role. Like everyone is involved and everyone is educated.
Right.
Right. So how many years have you had the practice now?
We are almost at 4. So a little over 3.5 right now.
Well, kudos.
Thank you.
Yeah. So at what point did you start seeing like real financial success? Because obviously this is a gradual progression, right? When you do a startup, there's a lot of costs involved. You're building something from the ground up. What was the turning point?
The turning point was year 2 when we were able to maximize our space. And when I started, we only had 3 ops. By year 2, we had 5 ops.
Okay.
Is it 5 ops? 5 ops at year 2. And being able to maximize that was when we added the last chair. But the last chair we didn't even need because the last chair just adds more. It's just cherry on top, right? But by 4 chairs or by 5 chairs, we were able to meet our debt requirements, pay everybody exactly how you wanted to be paid myself included, and then get the team healthcare. And that was just like really awesome to see that. And then the next step is just cherry on top. So it just keeps elevating and growing. But I wanted to provide healthcare for my team because, team retention is really hard. And being able to provide healthcare, like less than like 40 something % of dentists in the US can provide healthcare for their team members. So I know that was a big deal.
Less than 40%.
Yeah.
Wow. That
was like the it was like 40 something % was the ADA number from what I remember.
So you start adding on the number of operatories. Obviously you add on operatories, you bring in more patients, you're more productive. But what are some strategies or systems that you implemented to allow you to scale that out?
Strategies. Well, we went to a couple of business seminars, and each chair is supposed to get you maximum in a normal PPO office. Each chair is supposed to get you around $35K a month. And so if you're hitting these benchmarks, let's say you have 4 chairs, right? So 30 something times 4 is 120, 130K a month. If you're able to hit those benchmarks, that's your time to grow because you're maxed out on that. And so Steven, he'll tell you, you need to max out on that. And then you need to max out on your days and time. And then you can expand your office otherwise. So our next step is to get another day, but we maximize our chairs already. And then this last year, we opened up our 6th op. And so now it's running on full steam, and which is really cool. And it just kind of snowballs in itself.
That's amazing. You referenced Steven a lot. Did you work alongside with Steven as you were building everything out?
I do reference him a lot because he's such a great friend.
Yeah.
When I met him, he was an Ivoclar rep. And so he knew a lot of dentists. He was really in tune with the finances, even though he wasn't doing finances at the time. And I saw that he was just it just comes very natural to him. He was intuitive about like how things ran, the numbers, and he's a numbers guy. So I always bounced ideas off him because I respect his opinion. Right. And he was the one that said, yeah, you can do it, man. Go ahead and do it. Go ahead. And you kind of pushed me in that direction because we were trying to find an office to buy for like over a year and I couldn't find anything. So he was like, yeah, just do a startup. You'll be happier. And then my wife was like, yeah, you'll be happier. Like, don't buy in an office because you like to change everything. Like for my cars or my computer, I put stickers on it to make it my own. So I'm not like one of those guys. Like I feel like I'm a creative, so I don't like things like just basic.
Right. No, that's great. I'm glad you have the flexibility to do that. Now, if you could hear the thoughts in your head when you were going through the hardest time in your career, what would you hear?
I think I'm going through the hardest time right now, despite of what it looks like.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. I can't go in so much detail about it right now, but we can talk in private because I don't want to be out there.
No, that's fine.
But yeah, I mean, I tell myself that you just got to do it. There's nobody else, right? You can't fail because you're not a failure. So you just got to push through. I was talking to my wife's grandma about it, and she was like, "Oh, I pray for you that you'll get through it." I'm like, "Don't worry about it. I'll get through it. There's no other choice. You just got to push through. Just pray for me to have strength. I'll push through."
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you will. I mean, there's no other way but through, right?
Yeah, you can't.
Serious. And my dad always says time will always pass. So even though you might be experiencing fear or hesitation in this moment, that minute will pass and then you'll be on the other side of it. So
it's so true. You just got to persevere because there's no other choice and you have to trust yourself and believe in yourself. Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, tell me, what does success look like to you now?
Success looks like when I don't have to work. Like I choose to work now. Like I don't have to work, right? For me, that's, again, mentioning Steven, we call it FU money. So it means like, I don't have to do it. I can say, fuck you. Like, I don't want to do it. I'll do whatever I want.
Yeah.
That's very empowering because like, I don't have to work. tomorrow, or I don't have to work on Monday if I don't want to. I'm doing it because that's what the practice needs, but I don't need it financially, right? So
Right.
that becomes like a weight off your shoulder. You just do it.
So what's the vision for you and your practice?
Now
Yeah.
it's ever changing. I don't like, that's a loaded question, because I ask myself that every day for the last year, because I've maximally expanded my office square footage wise to what I can do. I think the next step is to open up Fridays for my associate. And because I'm still teaching Friday, but if I can open up that gives you another technically 20% in revenue if she just comes in. So that's awesome. That means less time I actually have to work. So, which is awesome too. But I think that's where I'm heading next. That's just like a short-term goal. I don't know what long-term looks like though. I'm still thinking about it.
You mentioned teaching. Tell us more about that.
It's a passion of mine. I've always liked teaching in general, whether it's even before dentistry. Like I was tutoring genetics back in undergrad. I like watching people grow. I was in this thing called Tu Nhi. It's kind of like a Boy Scout in Vietnamese, Sunday school stuff, and did that. I taught Sunday school for Christian church a long time ago. I just love being able to have that mentorship position. But teaching now at UCLA I feel like I'm not too far removed from them. And so I think that I hope I'm making an impact in their career and helping to guide them to their next steps. Cause I feel like I've done it the right way and I've made enough mistakes where I can kind of see where dentistry is going and help them make their choices, or see clear so that they can make their choice.
I'm sure you're making an impact. Now, if someone was interested in going to academics, what kind of person would be a good candidate, let's say?
I think that's a great question, because I know a lot of people in academics, obviously, and some of them hate being there, to be honest, but they feel stuck. But some of them love being there. But the ones that love being there end up leaving because the passion goes away, because you become more an admin and you're kind of confined to the rules of the university and stuff like that, which is kind of unfortunate. But that's why, but
sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just kind of rambling on, but yeah, I'm like, to get into teaching, to get into academics, there's two routes. It's a clinical route, and then there's the research route. And the research route, obviously you make more money there, but you have to like do papers, and I don't think that's for me, but there might be an individual that doesn't like hanging out with patients and patient care, but likes dentistry. And so that might be an individual that likes that, or you can go into radiology.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean by a lot of teachers not enjoying being there anymore. I remember when I was in school, we had a lot of older professors and clinical instructors and row instructors who seemed a little checked out, and they were just there to be there, which is unfortunate. And I encourage people to take on a role, preclinical role or clinical role, just to get some exposure to, one, the technology and information that comes out, basically evidence-based dentistry, and two, to build a community within your local network, right?
Yeah, I love building community. I think that's so important, because in dentistry, most times if you're in an office, you're the top dog. So there's nobody to kind of bounce ideas or your woes from. And so I think getting involved with other dentists, that's been rewarding for me, especially going to the dental school. There's a lot of older dentists there that have years of experience, and I bounce ideas off them all the time. Maybe not so much clinical stuff, but hey, how did you handle this HR problem? Or how did you do this? Or what are your thoughts on this? Or in this build out? Or what about this investing? And that's been rewarding for me in itself, because there's a lot of good experience out there.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Now, if there was a young dentist who was drowning in debt and unsure about how to build their future, what would you recommend? What's a step that they can take?
Drowning in debt. Well, I'll tell you first thing, I've never met a poor dentist. So yeah, you may be drowning in debt, but that's an emotional kind of thing, right? Like as a dentist, you have the potential to make a lot. And you're going to be the top 10% of earners in the United States. So it's just channeling that energy and understanding, hey, yeah, it's debt. It's just like the country's in debt. It's just a number. It's just a feeling of debt feels bad. That word is bad, but there's good debt too. And that's an educational debt. And it's an investment that you made on yourself for your higher ROI in your daily life.
I like that perspective. Did you have this perspective early on as a student also, or was this something that you realized once you acquired the practice?
No, this is something I had early on. Me and all my homies, they all knew, and that's why we were just racking up debt in school. It's like, it's monopoly money. Just charge it. It'll be fine. We'll make it back. It's not a big deal.
It's like me and Apple Pay. Everywhere I tap, it's like, it's not my money.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. They'll come in. Money goes through. It's just, it's just a tool, right? So I don't think we feel, a lot of people get like an emotional connection to money because it makes them feel good, but it's just a tool. And then the real currency is, relationships you build.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Now, if someone wanted to reach out to you and connect with you, where can they find you?
Oh, it's so easy. Find me on social media. That's an easy one. I'm always on Instagram, even though I don't post as much anymore, but I'm always just scrolling. It's my doomsday scroll. Sometimes my thumb gets all sore. I'm like, oh my God, I've been on it. It's too much. I need to stop. Or they can just call or text me. Like my number is pretty out there.
Listen, I don't blame you. Sometimes we come home so exhausted that we just need to like disconnect completely and just scroll.
Just scroll, doom scroll.
Yeah. Doc, it's been a pleasure chatting with you. Thanks so much for being on Teeth Matter.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So that's the end of our episode. I hope you enjoyed the conversation. If you did, please follow, subscribe, write a review, share it with your friends so that I know that I'm not just talking into the abyss, that the content is what you need to hear, it hits where it needs to hit, and you feel empowered. So doing all those things tells me that and makes all of this worthwhile. I hope to see you at the next episode. Cheers.